All right, let's jump right in. The financial world is waking up to a huge blind spot, and that blind spot is nature itself. We're going to break down some fascinating new research that's building an AI tool specifically to help our financial systems finally learn to speak the language of the environment.
So, to really get why this is such a big deal, we have to talk about the sheer scale of it all. I mean, our entire global economy is completely, fundamentally reliant on everything nature gives us for free. Clean water, good soil, breathable air. But what happens when those things start to disappear? And more importantly, what's the price tag on that?
Well, researchers have put a number on it. And honestly, it's a number that's so big it almost breaks your brain. $100 trillion.
And no, that's not a typo. That's the estimated value that nature provides every single year. So the key takeaway here is that when we talk about losing biodiversity, we're not just having an environmental conversation. We are talking about an economic risk of almost unimaginable size.
And this quote from the Dasgupta Review just nails the problem perfectly. Right now, most financial institutions are basically flying blind. They just don't have the right tools to measure how much they depend on nature or how exposed they are if it collapses. These aren't abstract risks in the future. They're real, and they are already causing ripples in the system today. So how in the world do you fix a blind spot that big? Well, a team of researchers from the University of Oxford thinks the answer is to build a whole new kind of map, a sort of specialized data brain they're calling NatureKG. Okay, before we go any further, what exactly is a knowledge graph? Just forget about spreadsheets for a second. A knowledge graph connects information the way our brains do, by understanding relationships. It knows that deforestation is a driver of nature loss, which can be mitigated by an action like reforestation. That structure is what helps an AI make logical connections instead of just guessing. And here it is. This is the actual blueprint, what they call the ontology for NatureKG. Every one of those circles is a category of information, and the lines show the relationships that experts have mapped out between them. This isn't just a big pile of data. It's a carefully drawn map of the entire nature finance ecosystem. So let's peek under the hood. You've got actions, which are basically the solutions. You have drivers of nature loss. Those are the problems, like greenhouse gas emissions. It even links to the scientific evidence and the original source paper, so you know every single connection is backed up by actual research. This is the good stuff. Expert-curated, high-quality information. Okay, so you've built this amazing data brain. That's awesome. But a brain isn't much good if you can't talk to it, right? You can't expect a busy financial analyst to learn some complex coding language just to ask a question. And that's where the next, really cool part of this experiment comes in, teaching an AI to be a translator.
The technical term for it is text-to-cipher, but I think a better way to put it is this. They're training the AI to be the perfect data librarian. NatureKG is this super specialized library, right? Well, the AI is the librarian you can walk up to, ask a really complicated question in plain English, and they know exactly which books to pull off the shelf to get you the answer.
And the researchers had a really clear four-step plan. First, they designed that blueprint, the ontology we saw. Second, they filled it up with all the expert data to actually create NatureKG. Third, and this is a ton of work, they created hundreds of question and answer pairs. An English question with its perfect code translation. And then finally, they used all of that to train up the AI models. This slide shows you the whole shebang, from start to finish. A person asks a question in English, the AI model translates it into that special database language, Cipher. That code then goes and queries the NatureKG database, and boom, the answer comes right back to the user. It's a seamless pipeline from human thought to structured data and back again. So, who were the AI students they put to the test? Well, the researchers picked 3 popular, powerful, and open-source models, Phi 3, Llama 3, and Mistral 7B. They really wanted to see which of them could pick up this new, very specialized language the best. And let me tell you, the test was not easy. The questions started out simple enough, like list all actions, but they quickly ramped up to medium difficulty, asking about specific strategies, and then got really hard, forcing the AI to understand multiple complex ideas all at once. So after all that training, how did they do? The researchers are very upfront about this. This is a foundational study. The results aren't perfect by any means, but they set a really important baseline, and more than anything, they prove that this idea can actually work. Let's look at the main result. This chart shows execution accuracy.
In simple terms, how often did the AI write code that actually worked and gave the right answer? As you can see, Phi 3 was the class valedictorian here, getting it right about 21% of the time. Llama 3 came in next, and Mistral 7b, well, it really struggled on this test, scoring a 0.
But here's where it gets really fascinating. When you look closer at Phi 3's performance, you see a really specific pattern. It was actually great at understanding the basic shape of the question, the match and return parts. It knew which section of the library to go to. But where it totally fell down was with the logic, the where clause. It's like that librarian who can find the right shelf, but gets confused when you say, find books by this author, but only the ones published after 2010.
So what kinds of mistakes were they making? Well, it was often small but fatal errors. Things like using a name that was just slightly off, or returning extra bits of information that nobody asked for. They also got confused between big categories and their specific details. These are the kinds of subtle things you have to get right for a tool like this to be truly reliable.
Okay, so seeing that the accuracy was pretty modest, you might be asking yourself, so what? Why does this really matter? And that's a fair question. The answer is all about what this experiment means for the future. At its core, this whole study is a crucial proof of concept. It proves that you can take an incredibly complex niche field like nature finance, you can structure all of that knowledge, and you can actually teach an AI how to talk to it. It's the very first step on a long but incredibly important road.
And the potential here is just massive. I mean, imagine a world where a bank can instantly see the biodiversity risk in its entire portfolio, where sustainability reports are actually transparent and easy to check, where investors have a tool that helps them make decisions that are good for nature and their bottom line. That's the future a tool like NatureKG could help build.
Which really just leaves us with this one final powerful question. We are obviously right at the beginning of this journey, but this research shows us a possible way forward. A future where we don't just measure our economic health in dollars and cents, but also in the health of the planet that makes all of it possible. So, could an AI like this be the key? It's definitely something to think about.